Hey baddies, welcome back to the Baddest You podcast, where every listen takes you to the baddest version of yourself. I am your baddie level up coach, Ambria, and in today's video, we are talking about my femininity journey. Check me out on the Baddest You at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Ambria, and let's get into this week's video. So baddies, femininity is the new wave. We're no longer overthinking, burning ourselves out, stressing, worrying, giving all of our energy in exchange for nothing. We are now being empowered baddies who know our worth and are only approaching situations that resonate with us being winners, our fullest power and potential. Feminine energy is the energy of relaxation, right? The energy of receiving, the energy of valuing yourself, knowing your worth. It's the sensual energy, right? There's a light feminine and there's a dark feminine. Both aspects are so important for us in order to be a full divine feminine being. Happy, flirtatious, giggly, soft, but also being able to set boundaries, not allow people to play with us, and know our worth. I'm telling you guys today about my femininity journey because it has been a long time coming. I'm 23, I'm turning 24 in May, and I have been through a lot. And one thing I will say is that stepping into my feminine energy was one of the best things I've ever done for myself. And I'm going to tell you guys my story today to hopefully encourage you guys to do the same. So let's take it back to when I was, let's say, in middle school, high school era. I'll say high school era. I was the type of person who was in my masculine. I'm talking in my career, in relationships, when it came to situations of people, everything. I was a person in my masculine. My mindset, my motto was literally, if I want it, I'm going to go get it. Now, this actually was beneficial because I've always been a person that had a really exceptional career. No matter what I was focused on at the time, I was actually, heading plays, and I was Cinderella. I was Antigone and Antigone. I was writing plays and performing and having plays performed at Temple University at the age of 16, right? And I've always been a very accomplished individual. However, when it came to being able to step into my feminine energy, which I didn't even know what feminine energy was at the time, I couldn't do that. I was so goal-oriented, go get it, in ways that were burning me out. By the time I got to high school senior year, I was burnt out. That made me chase people, friendships, relationships. Oh my gosh, even thinking about that right now, it makes me cringe. And just made me like a people pleaser, maybe a person who didn't listen to my own needs. And my only sense of happiness came from making sure other people were happy. I literally had no idea that I could like prioritize my own feelings, myself, none of that. All aspects of feminine energy. I remember I liked this guy back in the day, and I was like, I'm gonna go get him. And my best friend at the time was like, no, like, I guess she had like training and stuff when it came to that. Cause I didn't grow up in a household where we talked about love life. Like it was just like, you're not allowed to date. And I didn't grow up with my mom, right? So I was like, what is going on? I was just like, I'm gonna chase this guy. I remember I chased this guy. And I broke my own heart. And I did this multiple times. With many different guys in the past. I would chase them. I would put them on a pedestal. They wouldn't value me and they wouldn't choose me as a result. And I would get my heart broken time and time again. And thank goodness I was a person who was into my career. But honey, I was going through it. And so even in relationships with my friends, like I would find myself putting these people on a pedestal. I would literally go all the way out of my way to leave my home, to like travel across the city just to visit a friend if they needed me. But I found when it came down to it, when I needed people, they would never show up for me. And so I found myself in this continuous victim energy and spiral and cycle where I was like, why am I just not getting what I want? Like, why am I just not worthy? Like, what's the issue? Someone tell me, right? I felt stuck. I couldn't understand why I couldn't get what I wanted. I'm like, I want this so bad. Why can't I just have it? And then I started to victimize myself. I started to just think I wasn't worthy of relationships with people I loved. I thought I wasn't really worthy of partnerships. And I got to a point where I just started to accept less, or I just started to isolate myself and all of the above, until I experienced a really hardship with my mom passing away. And this was something that completely changed the course of who I am as a person. I started for the first time ever living for myself. And that was the first time that really started happening because everybody wanted me to be in school at the time. Everybody wanted me to do what they wanted to do. My parents, right? My friends, literally everybody. But I was like, no, I'm gonna be a model. And so what happens was I started modeling. I started to step into my creativity, and I ended up taking that to the next level. I grew my social media. I ended up walking for New York Fashion Week, like 2019. And I was at a point where it's like, I'm doing what makes me happy. And I had a whole friend group in like high school, and I cut everybody off. I was like, no, like, I want to do what makes me happy. This was the first time in my life where I was truly selfish. I moved out of my parents' house. I moved into a relative's house, and I started putting myself first. I would go to New York. I would just live life for me. I wasn't fully in my feminine energy at the time. I still didn't know what feminine energy really was at the time. I was still like accomplishing and stuff. But this was like the first time in my life where I started living for me and really started doing what I thought was best, and started to not listen to the naysayers, which was really hard because I grew up my entire life being a people pleaser. I grew up my entire life being a person who wanted to make my parents happy and wanted to follow the same religion as them, and like wanted to be the best Christian and the best sister and the best daughter. And I didn't realize until I look at it now, looking back, that I was burnt out, honey. I was like, oh my gosh, like this, no. Okay. I was not taking care of myself. Like my skin had so much acne. My scalp was dry. Like my nails were never done. I wasn't taking care of myself, and I wasn't healthy. And I was just neglecting myself and feeding everybody else, and even burning myself out to the point where I was just so focused in my career. That was not benefiting me either. That was actually doing me a huge disservice. And like I said, it was like I was a puppet my entire upbringing. Like I did what my parents wanted me to do. I was still rebellious. Like I'm a Taurus. I still thought I did what I thought was best, but I still listened to what everybody wanted me to do. I would listen to what my friends wanted me to do, and be like literally sabotaged by people's situations. But I'm going to tell you guys this one thing. Like this taught me to listen to myself. I remember my mom passed away, and everybody was telling me, you know, at the time, like stay over here for the summer. I was moving to my grandmother's in Maryland for the time. They're like, no, stay home. And something in me told me to go. Literally every person I loved, my friends, my parents, my grandparents over there, like everyone was telling me not to go. So I ended up going. And guys, like you guys saw, my mom passed away. I went, and I just so happened to see her that last time I was there. On the last day I was there, because I had to come back to Philly after some time because something tragic happened to one of my friends. So, and look at me, still people pleasing at the time. But my mom, something told me, like, take a bunch of pictures. I got a bunch of footage and videos for my siblings, just of her saying I love you to them. Just something told me to do these things. I started listening to my intuition, femininity, right? And as soon as I came back to Philly, my grandmother came a week later and told me my mom had passed away. And it was just completely unexpected. It was like, what in the world? But that taught me in that moment, like, listen to yourself. Like, you know what's best. I started really tuning into my intuition after that situation happened. So moving forward, like I said, I moved into a relative's house. I started doing modeling. I stopped school for a while. I was like, you know what? I'm doing what makes me feel happy. I'm doing what's best for me. So let's get into pandemic era. Okay. This was when spirituality was a big trend. Okay. Me personally, I had a spiritual awakening in 2020. Where everything shifted for me. Like my belief systems completely shifted. I started my tarot reading business at the time. I started to heal and do so much inner work and inner child work. And I think this is because we were all going through an awakening at the time. We were all kind of forced to sit with ourselves during that pandemic, and we were like isolated. And for me, I started to learn like what really resonates with me. I started to go in nature every day, meditating. I did so much journaling and inner child work, like on my own intuition. I just did so much healing. I literally did so much chakra healing, and I just did it just to do it. Like I didn't have any intention to do it, but I started to see myself completely shift as a person through doing that. Like I would ask myself questions. Like I remember this one time I was like in the backyard once and this neighbor who went to my high school, he was like an attractive white guy, conventionally attractive white guy, stepped and he came in his backyard, and I was like, oh shoot, he lives like right here. The thing was, like, when that happened, I found myself like wanting to hide myself. I found myself wanting to, like, you know, cover up my hair, have my natural hair, no makeup on at the time, cover up my natural hair. I was like, nope, like stepping away. But then I sat and I forced myself instead to journal. And I asked myself, I was like, why do you feel the need to like hide yourself, like for the sake of this person's comfort? Like, what is that about? And that's how I started doing my own journaling prompts on my own. I would sit and feel the feelings and try to understand them. And then I would shape new beliefs. I remember sitting there writing for like an hour. And at the end, I started to realize that I had a core belief that said other people's happiness matters over my own. Like I have to hide myself for the comfort of other people. I have to dim my light for the comfort of other people. And I replaced that with a new belief that day that said, I am most safe in my power my feelings come first. I'm the main character. What I feel, what I believe, what I see matters most. And genuinely, I started taking that and I started really digesting that mindset, and I took it with me as I started to continue to progress through life. And it empowered me so much. I started to learn how to set boundaries. I started putting myself first. Like, for the first time ever, I saw myself as a person that has value. And when I started going through the spiritual awakening, this is when I started my TikTok at the time, ended up hitting 100K that year on my birthday, which is so cool, hit 100K. But I was literally posting affirmations constantly. I was posting spirituality content constantly. I was doing what I wanted to do. I started a tarot reading business. Mind you, my whole family's Christian. Nobody agrees with what I do. But for me, I started putting myself first. I was like, this makes me happy. And when I do my tarot reading business, it's my biggest passion. Like, I just use tarot as a tool to be able to motivate people and to connect with people. And my intuition has been so strong my whole life. But as I became more spiritual, right, that feminine energy with that intuition, I started to realize, like, this is real. In my journey to starting my tarot reading business, I learned how to trust my intuition. I learned how to believe in myself, because I would do my tarot reading business through live. If you guys want to ever check me out at TikTok at Ambria Hearty, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do collectives, personals, and you can check out thebaddiePsychic.com to see all types of bookings on my website, life coaching, healing sessions, all of the above, okay? I would sit and have to go on live, and I remember one day I was just telling people, like, oh, like, this is like, you know, just doing the readings and stuff. Like, I got a tarot deck off of like wish.com or something, like the Modern Wish tarot deck. And I was just doing tarot readings for people. And then they randomly started saying, like, why are you so accurate? And I'm like, you guys are just trying to be nice to me. Like, there's no way. Like, and then everyone was like, you're so accurate. Until I met one of my best friends to this day. She found me on TikTok and I was doing a tarot reading. And I was like, you're going to meet a guy that's going to come into your life so soon. That's going to be like your future husband. So my friend at the time, she was saying, I just got out of a relationship, but I'll keep an eye out, you know. Turns out, a couple months later, literally to the guy that she's dating to this day, that she's probably going to marry, like, literally came into her life. So it was insane, because after that, I was like, no, I'm starting a business. Like, I'm doing this. Like, I love what I do. I love connecting with people. I love helping people. Like, I get to use my business every day to connect with people. One of my biggest passions in life is like motivating people, inspiring people to be the best versions of themselves. And I got to do that every single day with my business. So I started to really take that seriously. With my business, I was able to move out into my first place, which was awesome. At this point, right, I'm way more in alignment with my true self. I'm operating in my purpose and my power. I'm in my feminine energy, because I'm trusting myself. I'm doing intuitive readings every day, doing my life's purpose and my passion. I'm listening to my intuition. And this was when I started to finally feel super happy and in my purpose. I moved out on my own. I started putting myself first, and I felt so connected to my inner truth. I just felt so free, so happy. And a lot of the situations that I went through in the past, I decided to not be victim of anymore. Like, I decided to take my power back, and a lot of things I had experienced prior. And this gave me so much confidence and motivation to move towards the things I don't want it to now and moving forward. Now, this is around like 2021 when I moved into this place. And I eventually ended up meeting my partner, where it clicked immediately. I was in my feminine energy, right? To this day, it's giving provider, it's giving respect, it's giving I get what I deserve, it's giving princess treatment. And this is because I walked into the relationship with strong boundaries, knowing my worth, prioritizing myself, and in return, I attracted this very masculine energy that respects and honors and takes care of me. And I will say, before this, I was also celibate for like 2 years. I was taking a break from guys completely. I was like, I'm not dating, I'm not doing nothing. I am taking care of myself, I'm prioritizing myself, focusing on me. And that helped me to be able to attract this relationship. And I'm still in this relationship to this day. Like, a year ago, we ended up moving us to our own place together. We currently live together now. And it's just amazing, because I have developed into such a feminine being. Like, y'all know how they be like, when you're in your partner's presence, like, you don't think. Like, as much as I'm still a Taurus, I'm an earth sign, like, I be doing my thing, I feel so much more relaxed in my day-to-day. Like, I don't have like worries and stressors like I used to financially. I still work on my business because I want to take care of my own personal finances, but I pretty much like have this like masculine to sit back and relax into with my partner, being a masculine person he is and the way he takes care of me, that literally allows me to really thrive in my own endeavors. And he's very supportive of me, all of the above, like literally gets me gifts all the time, literally takes me out, pays for everything, all of the above. Now, I also at this time started to learn about Sprinkle. I was like, hold on, let's take it to another level. Sheer 7, you changed my life, girl. Thank you so much for doing what you do. When I started learning about her, oh my gosh, like she changed the game for me in terms of like really learning how to prioritize myself, really learning how to put myself first, really learning how to to love myself and like remind myself that the most important relationship in my life is my relationship with myself. And this is something that I go on live to talk about with my baddies literally every single day, telling them to prioritize themselves, telling them to honor themselves, telling them to put themselves first, really learning how to tap into my feminine energy and prioritize and take care of myself and love myself first. Like that's something that has helped me so much to prevent burnout, something that's really helped me to get the respect I deserve in relationships with people, and also something that's helped me to take my business to the next level. I actually turned my tarot reading business into an actual LLC. It's called the Baddie Psychic LLC, and I have made over $40,000 on my business to this day. And it's just insane to see how like living in my passion and allowing myself to be my feminine energy and do what makes me happy is taking me to such financial success so far. And I'm so grateful because I literally own my time, literally do whatever I want. I still have like a lot of structure and discipline in my day just because there's like things I want to do with my life. But being in my feminine energy has allowed me so much to create even more finances. And even back then, I used to like worry and stress a lot about money. When I started to work, like step into feminine energy more, I actually healed my relationship with money. I used to think I have to work really hard for money. Now I work like 1 or 2 hours a day and I make a lot just by like those 1 or 2 hours. And it's insane to see how taking that money off of a pedestal and releasing that fear and that desperation towards the money has allowed me to attract way more. And I had to do so much inner healing, of course, like I said, working on my mindset, releasing victim energies of the past, learning how to prioritize myself, learning how to put myself first, literally seeing myself as number one, caring most about myself in my life, like being selfish. These things have changed my life. I am literally a brand new person now. You guys are seeing me today. I am not the person I used to be. Literally, like I used to be so anxious and desperate and chasing and victimized constantly, but I'm a brand new person. I know my worth. I'm not playing. Like I have boundaries. I don't play. I started really working out. I also highly recommend like listening to affirmations in your sleep. This has completely changed my subconscious mind, my subconscious belief systems about myself. I also went a long time wearing natural hairstyles, not wearing makeup, so I could feel beautiful by myself in my most natural state. Like that in combination with everything. Ultimately, when I made the intention and I started prioritizing myself and I started doing what makes me feel happy and I started loving myself first, that is when the universe started giving me everything that I could have possibly wanted. Another thing that I really had to learn and helped me a lot when it comes to my feminine energy was the ability to rest more. Because I told y'all when I was in high school, when I was like a child, literally my whole life, I was a workaholic. To this day, I'm a workaholic, but I'm trying to balance it out more. I was like, it's about the money, it's about the goals, it's about the accomplishment, but next high, like next accomplishment, next accomplishment. Finally, I'm learning this lesson now and understanding that I have to rest more. And I'm starting to really value rest. I'm starting to not be a workaholic as much. I'm starting to be way more balanced and grounded with the way that I choose to approach my career. And in doing this, this actually helped me to make way more money without having to work as hard. I highly recommend that you guys take the time to really start balancing out your energy, work, and life balance, and taking the time to really prioritize rest. Because once I started doing this ultimately helped me to start attracting way more in my life, right? Because I wasn't chasing as much, I was attracting. And I decided to shift my self-concept. I completely changed my identity, and I see myself as a person that's worthy of whatever I desire, of that princess treatment, of the money, of the success. I used to have everything on a pedestal, but me stepping into my femininity has allowed me to take everything off of a pedestal. I'm like, I'm number one, I matter most, like I'm the prize. And seeing myself in this way in relation to relationships and finances and whatever has really enabled me to call in the things I want more, because I have this energy now of detachment. I am not desperate. I'm not chasing. I don't see things as like more valuable to me or making me more valuable by having them. I'm like, I'm already valuable, and because I'm valuable, I deserve to have these things. And that approach and mindset has completely shifted my dynamic with the world around me in ways where I get what I want now without having to chase or be desperate for it. And I live my life as my top priority, which was something I did not do at all when I was younger. I put everybody first. And this also just came from inner child wounds and having to like, you know, step into that mom, older sister role very young. But overall, like, I feel like I live a life now where I'm taking care of myself. I'm prioritizing my well-being. I am valuing myself. I'm seeing myself as the prize. I'm choosing myself. I have strong boundaries. I have high standards. The relationships around me really reflect that. And the finances really reflect that. And it's just interesting to see how when you step into your feminine energy, your life genuinely changes as a result. That is my story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And now guess what? Sharing with others to do the same. I'm getting to share it with you. And I get to share on my TikTok, on my Instagram, on my live every day. So make sure you guys follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Ambria Hearty. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Baddest You podcast, my Femininity Journey. Make sure you guys check out the Baddest You on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And I will see you beautiful and amazing baddies later. Bye, guys.